Hello everybody and welcome to the video today. I do hope you're all well. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and welcome to the signal box today, and we'll crack on with another video. So first up, I want to say a huge massive thank you to everybody who enjoyed my recent video on the little miniature, very short documentary about Nine Elms, the footprint of Nine Elms Loco Depot in Nine Elms, London. It was so lovely to hear some great stories of some people that worked on shed, people that remember the Loco Depot, and some really lovely comments on there. So keep those comments coming, and if you haven't seen the video, go and check it out. But I just want to say a massive thanks to everybody so far for your support and your comments. It's been so lovely, and it really does encourage one to continue making those kind of little documentaries. So you never know what will be around the corner. So speaking of Nine Elms, we're in a little bit of a Nine Elms flavoursome month in September. I think September is going to be Nine Elms month, or Southern Region month, because I've managed to get something quite nice, and it's a first for me because I haven't got one of these. I've always wanted one of these, so now I have one. So ladies and gents, without further ado, look what's coming to the layout and to my railway. It's one of these. This is a Hornby Q1, or as I like to call them, Chonkers. I've finally got myself a Chonker. Why are they called Chonkers? Because they used to chonk along, and they were given this nickname, I think, as far as I'm aware, the only person that called these Chonkers was dear old Clive Groom, who's not with us anymore, a top man from Nine Elms Shed. But this is the Hornby Q1. It's the weathered version, and I saw this on eBay the other day for a really good deal, actually. I think with postage, it was about £95 with postage and packaging, and it came today. I think it was supposed to come tomorrow. It was a bit delayed in the post, but it actually came today, being Sunday, which is a really bizarre thing for the Royal Mail to deliver a postage anywhere on Sunday. So it was good to get that today, and I'll crack on with getting this out of the box in a minute. But as you can see from the front picture, it's a lovely Loco. These were also called Ugly Ducklings, and they were like that for a reason. You'll see it when I take it out of the box in a minute as why. The reason they were built like this is, I'll go into detail a little bit more in a minute. But box wise, the box is a little bit grubby. It's a little bit dirty there, some staining on the top there, a little bit of scuff marks, a little bit of wear on the side there. Underneath there, whoops, we spin the box around. I think someone's left this in the sunlight, or where there's possibly some dampness on the shelf, or I don't know, but a little bit of the print there is slightly faded. You can read it, it's readable, but overall the box isn't too bad. It's sort of reasonable, it's acceptable. I think a little soft cloth, slightly moist, will clean those grubby marks off. There's a little bit of a water stain there where it's been, I don't know. But anyway, don't be deceived by this Loco. I know it says weathered, but I think someone actually weathered the box as well. Anyway, go and grab yourself a tea or coffee or something you like to drink, and I will take this out of the box and we're going to have a little look at it, okay? So stay tuned and we'll get the Chonker free from the box. Okay, welcome back. So this is the inner box to the outer box, and as you can see here, a little bit of discolouring on the flap there, but it's not too bad, you know, you can't really grumble at that. It's a little bit faded, but we don't care. The box is physically intact and everything's inside there. We'll put that to one side. We've got instructions. Two things I noticed when I actually looked at this earlier. It's two things that really were impressive, and the seller did actually admit that everything that was seen in the photographs and in the description was accurately described. And you know what, they were, so fair play. So we've got instructions, which is always a good thing for the model, and we've got this lovely little pack here of goodies. We've got the coupling in there, we've got some fire irons, some Southern Region head code discs. Oh, there's some lamps in there as well. I think this is actually from the Locomotive Super Detail pack that you could buy separately. That's nice. There's some lamps in there. They'll come in handy for other things. There's some other bits and pieces that go with this Loco. The front coupling, should you wish to fit it. There's a long dart in there, I think a pricker, and all the fire iron tools that you need. So that's all nice in there. Brilliant. But here is the Chonker in the box. Look at that. Isn't she a cracker? Again, I'll stop this because it is quite fiddly to get this out the box because she's so delicate. And I'll get this out on the table and we can have a good look. So just bear with me. So there we go. There's the old Chonker, the Q1 released from the box. And I must say, it was quite nerve-wracking getting it out that box because it was quite a little tight fit. But luckily, if you know how to take it out of the box, you're okay. But even so, these models these days have got so much detail on them, as we'll look at this one in a minute. You have to be very careful, but she's all good. Let's look at the smoke box then and start from the top, shall we? So, look at that. I'm not going to actually touch this weather-wise. I'm going to leave it because it is factory weather from Hornby, and there's not really that much to do to it. I could add a tiny bit of loco ash underneath the smoke box door there on the buffer beam, a tiny minuscule bit if you like, but not really. I think that's good as it is. And already this loco comes with so much detail. If I just zoom in slightly on the front there, that's better, isn't it? We can see there, ladies and gents, we've got the coupling hook and the chain on there, screw link coupling, which you can actually physically, with a pair of tweezers, you can actually bend up and gently hook over that hook out of the way, which is quite nice. And we've got a vacuum pipe there. These steps, typical Bulleid loco steps on the front there. And the detail already, even without moving down the rest of the loco, the detail on there that I can see, you've got the rivets on the buffer beam, on the actual running plate there on the front, the brackets with the discs, head codes, or the lamps on there. And also those two stud-like things that are sitting beneath the smoke box there, they are the inside cylinders. That's nicely modelled as well. I love the front of the smoke box, with all that detail around there, the hinges, the brackets. I could spend quite a lot of time just looking at the front of the thing. It's so lovely. 33009. I'm going to zoom in on that shed plate to see what it says. 70B. I think, don't quote me, again I'm going to have to look this up, but without a rough guess, I think 70B was possibly Bournemouth shed. I was hoping with my little fingers crossed, I was hoping it would say 70A, because we all know what 70A is. 70A is 9 ohms. But these were at 9 ohms. There was quite a few of these at 9 ohms, but not an awful lot. But these definitely were a southern region machine. So some good detail on the front there. And one of the things that you notice straight off the bat is this very odd appearance. Firstly, the shape of the boiler, the shape of the little stubby chimney on top. It's not like a conventional loco. If you look at it from that shot there, the first thing you notice is how high up the boiler is away from the wheels. It's quite an odd looking thing. You've got these very short, small Bulleid wheels that were very cleverly designed, and I'll go into that in a minute. But on the front here, you've got an actual functional lubricator. Obviously in real life it doesn't lubricate the model. You've got to get your oiling pen out the toolbox and do that yourself, I'm afraid. But where's me, oops, sorry about that. Where's my little cocktail stick? I'll get it in the camera shot in a minute. Yeah, this bit here is the lubricator. So obviously when the wheel goes round, in reality it lubricates that wheel and obviously the com rod that with it. But that's quite nicely on there. This is the super detailed Hornby version, which has got all the fiddly bits on it. And if we look at the bottom there, we start here, we've got this lovely you might wonder why that overhead line flash is not found on top of the boiler or near the cab. And there's a reason for that, because it's a southern region machine. And what did it have on the southern region? Third rail, 750 volts of it. I've worked with it. I've worked next to it when I used to be a patrolman out of Clapham Junction many moons ago. But that little red electrical danger is very, very good, because it obviously tells you, the loco crew, everything below that sign, watch out for the old hot rail, because it will bite you only once. But look at that, even so, when I zoom in with the camera, look at the rivets there. Really, really nice. That's a very, very nice thing. So much detail there. Just in that shot all day. We could spend all day in that shot alone with the amount of detail in there. Beautiful, beautiful model. Very, very nice looking thing. As we move down the loco, we can see the sanders on the front there underneath, the brake shoes, and the sand reservoirs for the sand, the little sand pipes between the flanges on those wheels there, all of this casing detail there. That's a bit of fluff on there, by the way, a bit of hair from the light from the room I'm in. That's not actually on there, but you can see the rivet detail on there. Look at where the washout plugs on top there, for example, these little inspection hatches. I mean, look at the pipe work underneath there. That's a really detailed thing, isn't it? And we can see there these very unique wheels. And I tell you why Bulleid designed this loco, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you look at the overall appearance, these were called ugly ducklings. They were considered Oliver Bulleid's most ugliest locomotive ever designed. Some people would actually agree. I wouldn't really. They are quite a strange looking thing. There's a reason for that, because these came out during the war, and when they needed all the metal and iron and materials to build aircraft components and bits and pieces for the war effort, steel and metal and things like locomotive parts were very, very scarce. So Bulleid designed this with maximum efficiency, but less attractiveness. He wasn't concerned on how the thing looked. He was more concerned about what it could do. And these things, despite their appearance, what they made up for, or what they didn't have in appearance and looks, they certainly made up for in their performance. These locomotives could do at least a good 75 miles an hour in running forwards, and also doing 75 in tender reverse mode. They were built for freight originally on the Southern, but they proved so successful they were often put in on passenger trains as well. But the cool thing about this locomotive in real life and in model form are these wheels. If you look at the wheels, they are quite small for a chunky little locomotive, and there's a reason for that. In reality, Bulleid designed the whole loco chassis with these small little wheels to give really good traction and give excellent haulage compared to bigger wheels on a Pacific loco, for example, like a Merchant Navy or something much larger. And the thing with the Q1s, or the Chonkers as I call them, is that these, despite their looks, and everyone's saying, oh, they're ugly and oh, they're horrible looking things, they're very weird, they had a very unique ability about them, and that was the ability to boil water very rapidly. And that's what it's all about on a steam engine. If you can boil water and get it to a very high temperature constantly to make enough steam, have a good amount of steam in the boiler, you're there. You can do anything. And these were no exception. Bulleid got everything right in terms of the boiler length. The whole of the boiler was able to boil water and have that capacity. There wasn't a bit of space wasted on this thing, and it had the ability, as I said, to boil water really rapidly, without a doubt. And these were very, very good performers in reality. They shocked everyone. It was a bit like someone coming out onto a stage who's not very attractive and maybe a little bit heavy, and everyone's saying, oh, what are they going to do? Classic example, Susan Boyle. When Susan Boyle went on, I think, Britain's Got Talent, everybody laughed at her because of her appearance and her stage presence. But as soon as she opened her gob and started singing, everyone was like, oh, wow. And it's a bit like these engines. Despite their appearance, they really could do the business with heavy freight work. These were excellent heavy freight locos. So a little bit of history there. Going back to the model today, again, look at all this pipe work we've got here. This is so lovely. It's a very, very nice thing, detailed wise. There's loads to look at on it. Very, very nice engine. Nice to see that the tender steps are everything on it is complete. Sometimes you buy these or see these on eBay and there's bits broken off or missing, and this is a bonus. This one's all complete. As you can see, everything's on there. We'll take a little nosy at the cab from that shot there. As you can see, there's quite a little bit in there. I'll try and unhook this if I can. No, I don't want to. I'll try and do it this way. I'll try and get in that way with the camera, but you can see roughly there we go. They've got a long regulator handle there. You recognise that. There's some pipework detail in there as well. Some gauge detail. It is quite a nice little cab. We're just missing our 9 Elms loco crew to go on the footplate, but I think we'll sort that out. Love these doors here, these engine doors to the tender and the cab footplate and the full plate to obviously protect the crew from falling out and also stop undesirables. The handrails on there are separately fitted. They're also on there. The tender, the back plate of the tender is nice. Typical Bulleid machine, tender wise. Some nice detail on there. Love the glass window plate there on the driver's side, but not on the fireman's side. If you look down there on top of the thing, you've got again a good bit of detail there. You've got the water filler cap, some detail on there, not much to write home about, but overly very good. The coal is removable, and I think that will come out at some stage. Maybe I might put some real coal in there, but make sure it's really fine stuff, not big chunky boulders. I might do, I might not. But anyway, there's space in there to put those fire irons that came with the loco. They can go in there, which is quite nice. We'll put those on there maybe. Looking at the tender itself, the paint finish on the tender is nice and crisp. You've got the later British Railways line and wheel crest on there. You've got all those leaf springs underneath on the tender chassis. The wheels underneath are in very good condition. The brake rigging for the tender is all in place underneath. We'll flip it over in a little minute. I'll let you see underneath. I just will very carefully just turn her around this way, a little bit at a time. We'll come around this way like that, so we can have a look at it from there, from the back. So you've got again a set of steps going up to the tender. The couplings on the back there, buffers are intact. They're sprung, by the way. A vacuum pipe is on there. The hook for the coupling, screw link coupling is on the back there. Everything is not missing. Everything's there, including those tender steps, which is always a relief, because sometimes, like I said, these do get broken off and mistreated, but this is all there from what I can see. I've had a good look at this even before I began the video, so that's great. I'll just gently pick it up and roll it round this way very carefully so we can see this side. What a chonker, eh? And she's a nice chonker. I just love the space between the chassis and the underside of the boiler. Very much like a 9F. But again, very, very well captured in this model here from Hornby. On this side, there's even more pipe work to look at, which is quite pleasing to the eye. Nicely weathered as well. If I wanted to, I could get some weathering paint and weathering powder, some light rust, and just fill in a little bit underneath the chassis there. But I'm not going to. I think I'm going to leave that as it is. There's nothing really much to add to that. It's too nice to spoil. I'm a little bit shy at the moment of weathering powders after the fiasco with the Humbrol fixing spray from Hornby. That's another video for another topic which I've already covered, so I'm not going to relay that information again. But overly all, a nice beautiful Q1, a nice chonker. 33009 is the running number, and again this would have been most likely at Bournemouth Shed, and it would have spent time at 9 Elms. I do know that. There you go, that's a nice shot. You can just make out the driver's controls there. One of the nice things about these Q1s is that you had that Bulleid design backplate behind the fireman and the driver's side. to lean back on, give you a little bit of shielding protection from the wind and the rain. In very, very good condition. What did I say? £95 including postage and packaging, I think. Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. On top there isn't much really to tell about on top apart from the rivet detail, the safety dome cover, safety valves, and obviously the little hooter, the whistle there. There isn't much detail on top apart from just highlighted rivet detail as mentioned, and that very unusual stubby little chimney on the front there. But yeah, she's a nice machine. Very nice. Let's have a quick flip over underneath and we'll have a little gander at what's going on underneath. There isn't much to tell, but I'll just show you. There we go. Right, so obviously when I took this out of the box, the brake rigging and everything on there was attached. It came loose slightly. It's designed to come away. You can actually unclip it and very carefully pop it back in the little holes and recesses that's designed to hold the brake rigging along the bottom underneath. Like I said, they normally come sometimes fitted, sometimes they're not fitted, but you can remove them. I've actually permanently welded mine in place with some super glue and attached them permanently because we don't need to have those flapping about. They did come undone slightly, so I sorted that problem out. Now the owner did say to me in the advert, or did advertise, this model was in good working order and you can return it after I think up to 60 days. There's a return on the loco. You can actually take it or send it back in the post if it didn't work. Fortunately, I won't be doing that. On test, it ran in both directions when powered up. There was no stiffness. They did mention that they had given it some lubrication as it was a little bit stiff, but it would benefit from a good running in. So what I did, I added some hobby grease onto the gear there on the center wheel, which is what you should do always. And obviously I've lubed up the axles, the bearings, the conrod pins on top there, everything on both sides where you should normally oil up on a steam engine, just like in real life. Gave it a little bit of oil, just a fine dab. I stress the word dab. Didn't overly flood it, not like the Class 50 chip shop I had the other day. That was too extreme, man. Anyway, everything under there is very tidy. The connection between the tender and the loco is good electrically and physically. Again, there's loads of detail underneath there. Look at that. Very nice. As you can see, excuse me, the flanges, the running surface of these wheels, they look pretty tidy. If we do get any little hesitant stuttering on the track, it'll just be a case of a cotton bud soaked in lighter fluid and just buff that over with the loco powered up with an external power source so we can sort that out. But I'm very confident I won't have any problems with this. I looked at the pickups on each of these wheels. They're nice and shiny and clean. There's no crud or crap in there that's going to prevent that from working. Looking at the inside rims already from that shot there, I can see on all these wheels that they are in a nice tidy condition. The advert said that it was in very good to mint condition and had hardly been run, and I do take them for their word at that, especially when I saw the thing in real life today. So yeah, look at that, everything's on there. The tender brake rigging underneath is in position. I've oiled all the axles on both sides, and that is my little Q1. So nervous about handling this thing. It's so fragile, believe it or not. Anyway, there's the Chonker, and what a chonker it is. Look at that. They are quite nice looking things, I think, and that is going to look really quite nice hauling some nice freight workings on my railway this coming weekend. I've got another loco that's coming in the post hopefully tomorrow, tomorrow being Monday. I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll just have to tune into the channel and for another episode of the Signal Box and find out what's going on and what the next loco to arrive will be. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. There's my review or little unboxing of the weathered Hornby Q1 33009. and the R number, if you're interested or not, is R2344. Anyway, that's quite a good steal, I think, on eBay. And with that, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you in another episode and next time of the Signal Box. Thanks for watching. Bye bye now.